Uh, hopefully it can keep recording if others hop on or something like that. But anyways, here we go. Pairing time. And Miracle's joined us with something. I have no idea. What's going on?
So I redesigned our free trial page. This is what it looks like now.
Sweet.
Oh, that was really fast. This is what it looks like now.
Okay.
And this is the variant that I created. And now we want to create a Glex test just to see like when this goes live, if people actually will like this or not.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And I've never done a Glex test before, so I thought it would be something fun to just do. I did kind of start on it. At least I think I did. Oh, this is of course the wrong tab. Um, but hold on, let me go back to at least the Glex repo.
Is Glex for
GitLab experiments.
I see. Okay. GitLab experiments. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the experiment I'm trying to set up. Oh, here we go. Implementing Glex.
I'm familiar with GitLab experiments. I was like, what's Glex? I have no idea,
Oh,
but it
I
has a
thought,
cool name now, Glex.
yeah,
Uh,
I thought that was the whole thing. See,
it
Glex.
probably is. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not I haven't used it in a little bit, but there's thankfully also a good number of examples in the code base we can borrow from too. So
Cool. So yeah, the only thing I've done really is this feature flag. Because I just started this morning. I was doing a lot of reading and updating my GDK yesterday, which took forever.
nice. Yeah.
There should be, oh yeah, and then I was looking at this too. Let's see. Yeah, so I've done the installation so far. The thing that I want to do the experiment on is, of course, that free trial page, but that affects about 19 files. So I was trying to figure out how to implement this experiment across those 19 files because our examples are really just on the pill color of buttons here.
A little bit of a different scope.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Um,
yeah, that's what you're seeing in my code base. This is just the first configuration. This is basically what happens when you install everything. It gives you a really good just skeleton, which is great, except let me open that issue or that merge request. Yeah. So these are the 19 files that control those changes of that free trial page.
okay.
So I think the first one I wanted to do was, no, that's all styling. Yeah, it was my sign up box. Let's see, app. Use.
Uh,
Did I answer this app views, shared, and then sign up box? Oh, device. There it is. Yeah. See, I'm not all the way here today. Is it? I think it's this one. Nope. Nope. This one.
so here's an idea that might make doing experimenting easier.
Mhm.
What if there's obviously trade-offs, but like what if instead of treating this as like, okay, we're replacing the old feature, so we're writing on top of these files. And is that how I've interpreted this diff? Like, or I guess this is yeah. So like if I ran this on the GDK locally, this would be replacing the sign up page or like the sign up trial page. So it's like the old one's not there at all, right?
Yes.
Okay. So even though it's not great, but like I see us when we do like feature flags, we'll sometimes, for the sake of like just having one path branching entry point,
Mhm.
but duplicate the file. Like, so we'll have the old version that we don't touch, and then we'll have like the new version, which
Okay.
is duplicated. But my favorite thing to do is then like add comments to these files pointing to each other, saying like, hey, there's duplications in this file. So if you touch something here, check it over here. And if you touch something here, check it over here. So like
Oh,
that might be easier to manage the experiment if we can
okay.
embrace duplication just a little bit.
I was thinking about doing that, but then wrapping it, like just doing it in the same file, and it looks like I can wrap. Oh, this is wrong. It looks like I can wrap this in, I think, a class, or maybe this is just for a different. Yeah, it looks like I can wrap like my code and like maybe the experiment class.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've never used the experiment class. I've used the like experiment methods. And I don't know. But that sounds cool. Oh
Um,
yeah, but that seems cool. Like in a class that I guess so you have these different variants and then control behavior, red behavior, blue behavior. What
yeah,
where does that get where does this red define can
I think-
overridden on runs? I'm trying to understand what the class means. I don't understand it.
oh, okay. Um, yeah, I was thinking about doing that, but then I was like, I also have a file that's like 200 lines long. So maybe just duplicating this and then did you
Yeah,
need
I wouldn't be too I wouldn't when we do experiments like this and we're like replacing navigation, we kind of end up in a spot where we have the old thing that we didn't touch and then the new thing, but then having comments on the old thing because every once in a while the experiment is live and all in the code base, contributors will like start touching the
got
old
it?
thing. And so we need some sort of warning there of like this has been temporarily duplicated.
Okay. Well then let's try that because I really can't stand super long files.
Yeah. that could help out too. Because yeah, that's gonna get really gnarly if you have the switch here. But I
Mhm.
could see how a class is interesting. It was like, oh, maybe you could just have the class encapsulate the two different. Well, the class then would be super large. I
Mhm.
um yeah, I'm still not entirely sure what the experiment class does. So I don't know. I might be saying things that are so off. So please, you're the expert here. Tell me if
Am I the expert? Then we're in trouble.
okay.
Um, yeah, I was just looking through this and it's my first time messing with this gem. And this is my first
Yeah.
experiment in the product.
Yeah. Um I would suggest creating yeah, I would suggest creating a duplicate file and then like here if we can reset it back to the original content, then we could do similar to like a feature flag check. We could do an experiment check
Okay.
and render our new file if the experiment is under the candidate variant. I don't know.
Yeah, I think candidate here is variant and control is just control.
That makes sense.
Okay, cool. So
Cool. Yeah, I like it. That sounds cool. And so I guess then the sign-in box, original sign-in box, we would want to bring back to the original content.
yeah. Um,
We can check out.
oh, it's master. I always forget what the master branch is called because in different repos it's main.
Yeah,
Why is everything not the same?
that seems to be a theme with the way programmers do things is like, yeah, we could do it this way, but here's another way of doing it. So we're just gonna have two ways of doing it for right now.
Call it a day.
Experiment class is a good example of like, oh man, there's a whole class way of doing this. I haven't seen that. I just use this other way of doing it. So
Mhm.
there we go. All right.
Cool. So, oh, I have to do this for every single file. Maybe I should go and look at this. Yeah.
So I think for the CSS, as long as this CSS, so here's the idea. If we are changing the CSS such that it is okay on both scenarios, then it's like we don't really need to feature flag anything here. Uh, do you know what I mean? Like we can also possibly like put all the new rules or something under some other class that's like we can have at the top of our sign box experiment. Hamel have like a class selector of sign box experiment, and then everything new kind of just goes there. So we don't necessarily need to have an experimenting switch on the CSS. Is that what do you think?
You lost me. So,
Yeah, I when you said okay, we need to do something like this for all of the files, I look at CSS and was like, well, maybe not the CSS, like, because if it's only adding new rules that doesn't affect the old one, then maybe we can just leave that as is.
I think I overwrit some rules and
Okay,
added ones.
that's totally fine too. um so I have some CSS ideas for you, unless you have some CSS ideas.
I was just going to do the same thing.
Well, the challenge is that we can't necessarily like reference experiments and stuff in here, and we could split it up into a separate bundle.
Hmm.
But I'm almost wondering if, like, for CSS, what do you think if we just take all of our changes that we made and put them under a class, like here, there's like the class.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, because I did add all of these classes to the new file. I don't think I touched anything here. So these classes should only affect that experiment file.
Right. So I was saying maybe we could just leave it, but if we really wanted to, like, what's the word? Gate these changes, we can set a like top level content class from this partial of the Hamel. We could do something, I forgot what it's called, but you could do something like, I have to find the example, but you could do something like content class sign box experiment. And then we can nest everything under sign box experiment so that only these CSS only ever applies under sign box experiment partial has been loaded, which would assume that the experiment has been loaded. Um,
Oh,
that's one idea, but that's only if we only really need to do that if things are affecting each other, which maybe they're not. Like maybe this CSS works in both the candidate and control group. So then we're
yeah.
fine.
I'm not sure, but I can start my GDK and figure that out in a second.
Cool. Yeah, let's see that. That's those are brave words. I can start my GDK in a second.
Normally I can, knock on wood. Don't jinx me now.
I'm sorry. I know I did. I'm sorry. And yeah. Um so that was the largest file, and just, so right now it's split, and so maybe while it's loading, um we can find all right, and this is okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think how would we want to do the experiment with a change like that.
What, like this one, the sign up Omni off?
Yeah, because we're just touching just a small part of it. Maybe we don't want to duplicate all of it like we did in that other file.
Oh, do I need to duplicate the whole file, or can I just add the old changes and the new changes in the same file? Because it looks like
Right.
they're
That makes sense. Yeah, that sounds like a good call.
okay.
That's what I was saying is like it doesn't make sense to duplicate all of this because it's a very small amount.
Is it this one? Oh, sweet. I think it was just this that changed. Oh, and then I can put this behind the experiment feature flag. Cool.
Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Um,
we could do like an else if.
mhm.
So we can have just like our three conditions there. That sounds cool. But I say this naively, because I know that our experiment checks aren't like our feature checks. And I'm still in the back of my head. I'm like, what's that class? The experiment class? I hadn't seen that before. I gotta go find any. I gotta find the experiment example. I gotta
Okay.
I gotta resolve this in my head so I could.
Yeah, because I was here on the docs and I was looking for examples in the page 404. And I was like, oh, that's,
Oh no.
yeah, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever.
So funny. Um,
So that'll be the next thing I think, since I can find where examples are.
okay. Yeah. Let me see if we ever reference experiments in Haml. That would sounds helpful. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is I'm gonna share. This is kind of what I'm used to seeing the experiments look like. I'm gonna share it in the Zoom chat.
Oh,
Or you can
okay.
keep, yeah, you can keep sharing your screen. I'll share this in the Zoom chat.
Oh, okay.
So this is why when I was saying, oh yeah, we could just do if else if, I knew like, oh, the experiments are going to be a little different than that. If you jump to the Zoom chat, and I sent you a link with the.
Okay, as soon as I can find my Zoom controls
Yeah,
there.
I know, yeah.
Oh, of course. There was a timeout.
Uh-oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll fix that later.
So it kind of looks like a feature flag check. So there's the name for the experiment, and then you pass in the context and stuff. But then we pass in this block of like, so rather than doing like if, it doesn't just return a boolean, it like returns a block where then we do this like e dot control, and then there's another block that will return, and then e dot candidate, and there's another block that gets returned. So
Oh, got it. Yeah, so that I think that's what there is one page that was doing that for me somewhere in here. Nope, that's config. Somewhere. Where was it? This one? No. When I installed this, it created a page that was doing something similar.
Hmm.
I have no idea where that page went. Um, well, that's not helpful. Yeah, but I kind of understand. So something like that was created when I installed
Okay.
Gem. Oh, and they just named the control and the experiment different things.
Yeah, and so I don't think that there's a any kind of, so for this example I found in the code base, I am pretty sure we don't have any like any, there's not a class backing this. It's just like it's more akin to like how we do these feature flag checks, but for some reason experiments are kind of a different API where there's a, we use these blocks instead of just doing like if checks. Uh but I think assuming this isn't like deprecated way of doing it, I think that this is, talk about multiple ways of doing a thing. I think that this is a good pattern to follow for like how we would want to do the split and the Hamel. So like referencing our the old sign up Hamel. Uh so like for here, oh yeah, for here,
Wait,
either
was it
one.
this one? Oh, wait, no, that's the
I guess
experiment.
that's the experiment. That's the new one.
Oh, nope, that's not it. Was it this one? Yes.
Yeah. So like for here, we won't be able to do the like if and then else if, but what we would do is like if the feature enabled, and then we can get rid of all of that. We'd have to get rid of line 13.
Um, I think I created, when I installed this, I created a feature flag called free trial.
Yeah. And so that I think in, right, but I think like since it's an experiment feature flag, I think we use this experiment
This,
function for doing
got it.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this whole thing.
Yeah, I think that whole thing, but then on line two, right, we'll add a new line right below line one. And then I think that's gonna look like this example file where we're gonna have this long experiment thing. Uh but instead of showcase free security features, it would be
Free
whatever the
trial.
name of the new thing is. Yeah.
Um,
Have you done this kind of experiment function before?
no, this is my very first experiment in the product.
All right. Well, we are experimenting with this function. So cool.
Uh, Group.
I don't know. These would be good questions for whoever, however we want to control the experiment. I'm not sure how all these parameters. I don't know what stick to means.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't think I need this unless that's what this is. I did group digital experience.
I think it's got to be a different group. I imagine we're just like throwing as much context into it as possible so that we can control it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what group I want to experiment with this on yet.
Okay.
Um, and then and then I need, what does the E control do?
It'd be something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then the other one would be
Something like that.
or is it switched? Is the which one's I think the free trial Omni is the new one, right?
Oh, you're right. That would have been confusing to find later.
Uh, uh cool. Is it indented? Is one of these indented? Is
What?
line 3 indented too much? Oh yeah. Is that okay?
And then shouldn't this be indented?
It
I thought we
should.
did this.
Nice. Okay. I think it's kind of how it's gonna look. Um, and so similar to the other page that we had, so we could do like the same kind of thing, but we can render our new partial where we moved everything over and maybe possibly add comments of like, hey, make sure you check things across files. And
That's
so there we would do something similar, but we have a new partial where we including the other bit. Um, and then yeah, the to do that we didn't get to. I am gonna have to hop off,
oh
but
yeah.
we had the to do of making sure the CSS worked in both cases.
Hmm.
So if it doesn't, I guess we'd have to add some sort of container class to the sign box experiment one, and then we can wrap all of our new rules inside of that. But yeah,
Nope,
it's
that makes sense.
yeah, good work. I know that it's a little frustrating when you've like done something and then like, oh, I've got to like unwrap all of it to like
Yeah, that's what I was hoping I wouldn't have to do when I just got back from vacation yesterday. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get into this. I was like, great. I don't want to have to undo all of my wet spaghetti on the wall. And there's got to be a way where I don't save my wet spaghetti. There's not.
I know. Yeah. But no, good work. It seems like it's gonna be hopefully fairly straightforward to do the experiment. So um yeah, let me know if you learn anything about the experiment classes and if you find yourself using that, because I haven't ever seen that. I've only ever seen it used like this. So
I definitely will. I think in order for me to dig into that, I would have to find examples because all of our examples are kind of doing the same thing that you were talking about.
yeah. Okay. Well, cool. All
Awesome.
right. Hey, thanks for hopping on. It was fun chatting and hanging out with you, Miracle.
Yeah, it was. Enjoy ballet.
Appreciate it. See you. Bye.